What are you doing?
I'm fishing. What are you doing?
That's not fishing.
This is just as much a fishing as what you're doing. That fish looks pretty real, doesn't it? Let that one go.
So is mine, but mine came out of the lake.
Yeah, but I saw you looking at that screen.
Yeah, so?
I mean, you don't think that's cheating just a little bit?
What?
Hey, did your screen just...
No.
I mean, are you watching a movie or are you fishing?
You jealous?
Not even a little. Oh, come on. Fishing is the only professionally played sport that not only encourages cheating, but it incentivizes it. Prove me wrong. All right, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Greg. Let's talk about it. Livescope was first introduced to the market back in 2018. Like, this was a long time ago. But since then, most of the professional fishing tournaments have always allowed this level of technology in their tournaments, which to me is counterproductive. I always thought that to be a professional, you have to play at the highest, most difficult level. It's kind of like playing video games. If you play on like easy mode or beginner mode, that's not professional playing. You have to play at the maximum difficulty, which is the same as true with any other sport: football, baseball, golf, any of that stuff. That's the way that it works. But not with professional fishing. Professional fishing just freely allows you to cheat depending on what the market has available in the form of technology, which in today's case, we're gonna talk about Livescope, or forward-facing sonar. So BASS, the Bassmasters, the biggest, most widely known bass tournament trail tour, they took a stance on it in 2024, and they said, well, you're only allowed one forward-facing sonar in your boat, which to me, that's laughable. Like, how many are you going to put on there? Why would you even need more than one? But I've seen some of these boats decked out where they've got them all around their boat, but that's insane to me, right? Now this year they revisited it, and they just put out a new article, and they're talking about they're only going to allow it in certain ones. So they're actually becoming more and more restricted because they realize this is cheating and this is controversial, right? And so just to give you a little bit of context, the Alabama rig, I can't remember, I'd have to look it up. Let me see. Okay, so the Alabama rig was first introduced to the market in 2011. And almost immediately after it hit the tournament trail, they banned it. Not only did they ban the use of the Alabama rig, but they limited to one lure per fisherman, period. Like, this was thought which, if you don't know what an Alabama rig is, it's basically, it's an umbrella rig where you have, well, they make them with 3 now for states like Tennessee, where they don't allow 5 for the state, but the original one had 5 swim baits on it, right? And it was thought that this was such an advantage over the other fishermen that they banned it from being able to be used in the tournaments. But yet they allow this technology that basically says, here's all the fish, look, you can see them under the water, right? To me, this is, I don't understand. Well, I do understand. Garmin contributes a lot of money to BASS for their, not only through sponsorships of some of their athletes, wherever you want to call them, but it also contributes to the winnings. Whoever, you know, wins the tournament, they contribute money to that. Where, what was it, the Man Company or whatever it was called that introduced the Alabama rig back in the day, they probably didn't pay as much money. If they would have paid homage to the tournament people, they probably would have been allowed to be used in the tournament, is what way I see it, right? And so basically, if you have enough money as a sponsor, your technology can be used. But what I don't understand is, if you apply this to any other sport, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, if you said, well, football players are allowed to use performance enhancing drugs, that would be laughable, right? Or what if you said, you know, Tom Brady has a robot arm, right? And it's like, would you still hold him as the high regard that you do if he had a robotic arm and that's how he was throwing for all these touchdown passes? What about Tiger Woods? So you know, golf is played because it's a difficult sport, right? And there's no cheating. They have a lot of regulations in there. And if Tiger Woods used like high technology, high level technology to win, like laser guided golf balls or something, would you still respect him the same? Why do we look up to these professional fishermen if they can't catch fish without the use of this sophisticated electronics in their boat? That's just ludicrous to me. I do not look up to these people. I canceled my subscriptions to cable television years ago, primarily because I had it for the Sportsman's Channel and the Outdoors Channel. And those people cannot be considered heroes anymore. They are not the elite to me. I do not look up to them as the professionals anymore. They've disqualified themselves as soon as they started using that level of technology. And this is the reason why people like Richard Gene, the fishing machine, has become like the new staple for the industry, is because he uses graphs, small amounts, but most of the time he's just fishing like normal. It's only the old school guys that even remember fishing without technology. My boat has no electronics on it whatsoever, and it's not because I can't afford them. It's because I want to play on the most difficult level possible. You only gain the bragging rights for the sport if you play on the hardest level. If you're playing on easy mode, you can't go, hey, look at me, look at these things I just caught. That doesn't compute, right? If you saw a grown man riding a bicycle down the road and he had training wheels on his bicycle, what would you say about that man, right? If you saw a professional bowler, I don't know any professional, I don't watch bowling, but if a professional bowler showed up and required the little kiddie rails up on the bowling lane, what would you say about that man? Everybody would laugh at him, right? You would be laughed right out of the tournament, right? But we don't do that with professional fishing. If you related this to hunting, because I know I got a lot of hunters out there that watch this channel, it would be the equivalent of taking night vision or thermal scopes out and shooting deer at night, which we all know that's illegal. It's called poaching. And it's illegal because it's an unfair advantage to the deer. And Livescope is an unfair advantage to the fish, where they're hiding under the cover of ultimately night and darkness under the water. You can't see them, but Livescope allows you to say, oh, there they are. There's a bluegill, there's a bass, there's a crappie. You could see all these fish plain as day. It takes all of the challenge out of it. So I hunt and I fish because it is a challenge. It is a difficult thing to do, right? I don't fish because I'm trying to fill my refrigerator, right? Like, yes, I do eat these things. I do love to eat fish, but you can go into the grocery store and purchase it, right? We go fishing because it's a challenge. I hunt deer specifically because it's a challenge to do. It's not like I can't go to the store like everyone else and just buy steak and hamburger meat. I hunt deer because, well, the deer meat is more healthy, but also because it is a challenge to do. No one plays golf because it's easy, right? No one plays golf because it's easy. If it was easy, no one would be playing it, because it's a stupid sport. You're gonna take a stick, you're gonna smack a ball, and then you're gonna go and chase it. People play it because it's difficult to do, and it's an accomplishment once you've achieved it, right? That's why you do it. So why is it that everyone in the fishing industry is doing everything that they can to make the sport easier and easier? It's not meant to get easier. If you need to use Livescope because you have children and you want them to have a good time, solid. If you need to use Livescope because, you know, you want to catch crappie and you can't really catch crappie, and, you know, in the off season you have to use it, cool. But every now and then you should turn that thing off and just remember what it's like to actually fish. I know many people with Livescope right now, and most of them agree that Livescoping is not actually fishing. It's more of catching, right? You don't always catch them with Livescope, and I understand that you still have to do the work there, but it's an unfair advantage. And if you don't think it's an unfair advantage, let me just pull up this report for you just so that you can see, because this is comical, right? This is from the Mississippi. Let me just pull it up here real quick. Okay, so I want to show you this report from Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. So every year they spit out a report of all the tournaments that they have on their main lakes, and they spit out a report, and it shows you everything that they caught. And I just want to show you the effects of Livescope for those of you that are still delusional and you think that this has no effect on the fishing. Now, given in the tournaments that they're quoting right here, where this data I'm fixing to give to you, all the fish were released, so it's not like they took the fish out of the lake, but it tells you the effects that this has from everyone else that's fishing, right? So this was a major league fishing style 2-day event at Grenada Lake. They weighed and released 1,896 crappie in 2 days. 2,000 fish, guys. That's insane. But that's not the big part of it. Okay. The winning team I'm assuming is 2 people. They landed 329 fish weighing 489.3 pounds in 2 days. In 2 days, they caught 329 fish. Does that seem normal to you? Have you ever been fishing in a freshwater lake in America and caught 329 fish in 2 days? That's an insane number of fish. There's no way you're doing that without this equipment, right? There was another article I looked up the other day. I don't have it on me right now, but it was people writing that the fish are getting more and more difficult to catch now that they've been caught so many times with this sonar, right? And so they're having to chase them more. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's like that for you guys with the sonar, what is it like for us without it? Y'all are messing up the fishing for us, right? Not to mention, the state of Mississippi has had to alter their creel limits on crappie to compensate for everybody keeping so many. So just remember, Livescope came online in 2018, right? And now let me look this up real quick. Okay, in July of 2024, that's just last year, so 6 years after the introduction of this technology, and Mississippi had to cut their crappie creel limits down on these popular lakes. And I know it has to be, like, it's not written in here, or at least I didn't read it. It probably is written somewhere, but it has to be because of this. It has to be because so many people are catching. If you think of all the guides that are fishing on there, no one in a guide boat is going to pay $300-400 for a guide to take them out on a lake and then not leave with the crappie, right? So all of those people are taking crappie home, and they're keeping their limit. So it used to be that you could keep, I think it was like 15 or 20 fish per angler. I think this article actually says 20 fish per angler. And now it's 10 fish per person, or a max of 25 per boat. So if you go out on a boat and you've got 3, 4, 5 people, the whole boat can only keep 25. You can't just go out there and drain the lake of these resources, right? And all of the lakes around the country are going to have to make adjustments because of this. And this seems like maybe this is a little bit counterproductive, right? Everybody's going to have to step it up to compensate for this. The hatcheries are going to have to start producing more crappie to replenish the populations, if the populations in the lakes that this electronic equipment's being used can't keep up with the production levels required to keep these people sustained. I mean, just for an example, normally in the wintertime, crappie fishing gets a little bit harder and the fishing starts to die off, and you'll see a lot of the lakes with low fishing pressure, really low fishing pressure. Well, last year, Dad and I started bouncing around. We were doing some hunting all over in Tennessee and Arkansas, and we would notice that wherever we were hunting at, if there was a lake over there, there would be people crappie fishing, even in the times of the year when you would expect to not see them. And I know that it's because they're running Livescope. You can see them because it's easy to see somebody with Livescope. They're all at the front and they're staring straight down, which I've done it before. My buddy took me out and showed me. Thanks, Bill. And I had a blast. So don't get me wrong, I had a blast doing it, but it's not fishing. And I think there's a couple of things to take home from this. One, you're not enjoying the outdoors, because I was oblivious to what was going on around me when I was doing it because I'm too focused on the screen. I didn't know where the boat was going. Every now and then we would look up and we didn't even know, like, how did we get over here? And it's either we trolled over there or the wind blew us over there as we're chasing crappie. But there could have been a polar bear, you know, on the bank fighting a pterodactyl, and I would have been clueless to the whole thing because I was not aware of my surroundings. And part of the reason why I go fishing is, yeah, I want the challenge of doing it. I feel accomplished if I'm successful, but it's to get out in nature and enjoy the peace and the quiet, the sunrise, the geese, the birds, and you miss all of that when you're staring at a screen, you know. And this is the bad part. So you wake up in the morning, and most of us wake up to an alarm clock that's our phone. So the first thing you see in the morning is a screen, right? A lot of people can't drive to work without playing on their phone, which is the reason why you got all these people in the fast lane texting and driving, right? Then you get to work or you get to school and you stare at a screen all day. Then you come home from work, you get on your couch and you turn on another screen. or your phone, and you play on your phone, and it screens everywhere. I don't even go to the movie theaters anymore because I got tired of having to stare at somebody's phone in the aisle in front of me, because all the little teeny boppers down there that can't stay off their phone for longer than 3 seconds to watch an hour-and-a-half movie. So I don't even go to movies. And then concerts are just as bad. People would rather watch their phone record their favorite singer and song artist or performer or whatever they're watching. They'd rather watch on their phone than actually be in the moment and enjoy the show that they paid all this money to go see. They're staring at it on their phone because everybody's got to have their own video on their own phone, because the video that's going to be produced by the band that's higher quality and a better framing is not good enough. It has to be on my phone so I can show everybody that I recorded it. And so fishing is the one time that I will not have a screen. I turn my volume off on my phone. I keep it in the boat for emergency purposes, but I don't use my phone. I'm not scrolling. I don't even have social media. I've created a Facebook for this channel, but I don't even have one in my personal life because I try to get away from it. I live on a computer all day long. I definitely don't want to be on one when I get to the lake. It's there to unplug and get away from that stuff. So that's my take, is I go for the challenge. I go to get away from the world and get away from the screens. And I feel like Livescope and this technology just keeps you in that mode. And I definitely think it's cheating. And that kind of leads me to my last point that I want to make here, is more of a question. And I'd like to ask you, what is the end game, right? So as technology advances, and all you're trying to do is try to make fishing easier and easier and easier, what is the actual end game? Like, when is it easy enough for you to say, okay, technology has made it far enough, right? And I can tell you what it is. It's right here. It's going to the grocery store and buying the fish off the shelf. You don't have to buy the boat. You don't have to buy the equipment. You don't have to get your hands messy cleaning them. It's already ready to go. Matter of fact, you can go through the drive-through at anywhere. You can go to McDonald's, get a fillet of fish. You can go to Captain D's, order you a plate. I mean, that's the end game. If you're trying to make it easy, why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? That makes a whole lot more sense, right? If you're trying to make it easy, do that. If not, enjoy the challenge and turn off the electronics. Enjoy it. That's what it's there for. It's a challenge because it's rewarding when you're successful, right? Well, anyways, thanks for sticking with me this long, guys. Thanks to Jamie, who helped me out with that little skit on the front end. If you guys want to make fun of your buddies with Livescope, Jamie's making sweatshirts and t-shirts with some funny little Livescope things. I'll put them up on the screen over here. But if you'd like to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt, anti-technology, anti-Livescope shirt, you can hit her up on Facebook. She just makes them in her living room, but she'll hook you up with a shirt. I'll put the link in the description. Just go down and you can find her Facebook. But y'all let me know what you think, man. Am I the odd man out? Do y'all agree with me? Do you think I'm an idiot? Whatever. Just, you know, technology is taking over this business, and I hate seeing it because I enjoy the challenge. I want you guys to enjoy the challenge. I don't like that our kids are being raised to rely on the technology, because it's totally not necessary. You can catch fish without it. I do it all the time. Yes, you are going to have some days where you're not going to catch fish. That's just a part of it. That's why it's called fishing, right? All right, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.
Section Captain D, would you like to try 5 4-piece batter dip shrimp for $1.99 today?
No thanks. Can I get a Southern style fish combo?